Welcome to the Printess Academy. My name is Axel, and in this video I will guide you through the concept of layers. If you create a new template, you will start with a single page document, and there will be one layer available, the base layer. The base layer is special because you can't change its name and you cannot remove it. It's also important for placing sticker snippets and layout snippets. And best practice is to design your templates in a way that the base layer is the main layer the buyer works on. So if you have, for example, a background which is not editable by the buyer, put it on a separate layer. Just create a background layer. And let's place a colored shape, for example. Make sure that the right layer is selected here on the left-hand side. Let's drop that shape to change the color first. And I will switch on and off dock to bleed to just scale the shape to the edges of the document. And as you can imagine, if I now add another shape to the base layer, it's on top of the background layer. Let's make that one pink too. And maybe should add a headline as well. Yeah, to place it somewhere here. And if you would have some hints for the buyer you would like to have within your layout, you can put them on top using a third layer. So let's move it up. And may you got, for example, a non-printing area to define. So take that shape here. And for some reasons, you need that space here empty. Saying non-printing area. You can show it this way to the buyer side. Here we go. And if we turn off the visibility of the top layer here, for example, it won't, of course, appear at the buyer side. But in our case, we would like to show to the buyer, but we don't want to have it in our production file. And this is why you can click here on that small Printess icon, which is not changing anything here at the designer side, none on the buyer side. So again, if I go back here, it still appears to the buyer, but it won't be part of your production file. So if we ask for rendering an output file, let's go. It won't be part of your print PDF. You could also turn that the other way around. So if you get informations which should be part of the printing file, we have to activate that Printess icon here again. And you won't show it to the buyer. You just turn off the shopping cart here. So if we now go to the buyer side, that information disappears, but it will be part of your production file. Before we go ahead with placing a layout snippet, I would like to rename these two frames here. So the shape I will rename by using a right mouse click to go for title. This will be called heart. And the other one, and as you can see, I can access the frames even here from the layers tab. Also very nice feature if you've got a document with 20, 30, 40 different frames. It's a bit confusing to access each single one. And this is where the layers also help a lot. So let's call this one headline. to have a clearer structure here within our base layer. Because if you place a layout snippet, let's add a group first of all. That snippet will be placed at the bottom of the base layer. And this is why here the same rule applies to the layout snippets. If you create them, please use a base layer whenever possible. Like all routes, there are expectations, but in general, the base layer is the place to be. So if we have a look at our base layer again, you see the headline, the heart, on top of these elements coming with the layout snippet placed. In difference to the layout snippets, the sticker snippets will always be placed on the base layer as a topmost element. So if we add now a sticker, same procedure, let's go for some stickers first to, I don't know, drop that one here. It is placed on top of any other frame of the base layer, as you can see it here. But there is one exception for this sticker snippet rule, and this is using a clip path. So let's remove the sticker first and all the elements of the layout snippet. Right mouse click, delete. Okay. And let's create a clip path first. So I will take a shape. Yeah, I'm just changing the color. It doesn't matter really, but for you to see better what will happen and what I'm doing here, I'm changing the color of it. So I would like to clip the frames of the base layer underneath. Okay, and therefore I have to find the option clip frame underneath and current layer. That's important because it only works for the layer where that clip path is placed. So go for with shape, and now you see that the text frame is cropped here. And if I scale up the heart, it is cropped as well. So the clip path is the most top frame here of the base layer. And if I'm now adding a sticker, yeah, let's go for that one here, it will be cropped as well. So if I move it to the edges of the clip path, you see the cropping. And to wrap this up, sticker snippets will always be placed on top of the base layer as long as the clip path is not the topmost frame. You may already realize that each single layer got its own color. And if you click here on that small triangle, you can change the color for each single layer. And this is also changing the color of the frames. So if I set the base layer to blue now, all frames of that layer got a green color now, and this also counts for the buyer side. Also here the frames are green. So before we go on, I will remove the clip path here, right mouse click, delete, okay, to scale the heart back to fit the document size. To talk about the layers context menu. There is another interesting option, a special feature which is not supported on the base layer, the option show as form field. In this case, Printess will automatically create a form field to switch on and off the visibility of that particular layer at the buyer side. So of course you can test it also here at the designer side, but as you know it, from Printess, form fields could also be visible at the buyer side. And while I'm seeing that green frame here, I realized that I forgot to explain earlier that also the frame bar appears in the layers color, in this case in green. So it's not just the frames, but also the frame bar will be displayed using the layers color you have defined for the layer. But let's go back to the visibility of layers. In this case, it's relatively simple. You can turn on and off the visibility of a particular layer. If you have a more complex task to turn on and off the visibility of several layers, you should use the option Show Layer Matrix. If you turn it on, a matrix will be displayed here on the bottom of the template, where you can now define a name for each setting to define the layers which should be visible. So if we add a row, I would call it, let's say all layers. And in this case, I would like to have the top layer visible, the base layer visible, and the background layer visible. Another setting could be, let's say base only. So top layer and background are invisible. And last one is, for whatever reason, let's just write an example, background only. To turn off the top layer and the base layer. To make that work, I have to change the initial setting we did earlier here for the top layer. And if we now go to the buyer side, at the settings tab, the buyer can display all layers, base layer only, or background layer only. In the section New, you will find a nice, good-looking example. So if I go for New Template here, I can scroll down to the retro sign. And by the way, you can always open these documents because Printess will open a copy. And this is why it's an unsafe template here. So if you would like to modify or to have a play and try, you can just save it under a different name into your account, and you can never ever destroy our sample templates. So for this product, we have defined a varnishing, which is not available for all substrates, because if you have a magnetic foil or a sticker, there is no varnishing option, as you can see it here. Same counts for these holes. So if you have a sticker, you don't need a hole, right, to put it on the wall. So depending on the substrate selected by the buyer, we will lead in and out the right options and features for that particular substrate at the buyer side. So if we have a play at the buyer side, it's getting more clear. So if I switch to the foil, for example, the varnishing disappears here and the holes. If I go for a sticker, it will behave the same or will look the same. But if I go for metal, these holes do appear and the varnishing becomes visible again. And now I can turn off the varnishing here, it will disappear. And I don't want to have any holes drilled into my metal sign. If you would like to remove the layer matrix, you just have to delete all values. So if I remove these rows, to close it, it does still exist. So if I go back here to select it again, it's still available because I didn't delete these three values for the three layers. So let's close it again to double check. If I now click on Show Layer Matrix, a new matrix is turning up. That's it for today about the layers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.